Arne Slot couldn't have had a better start to life in the Premier League, could he? Many were sceptical about the Dutchman's ability to make the jump from the Eredivisie and take charge of a giant club like Liverpool. But here we are, with one single loss so far and two big tests passed against Chelsea and Arsenal, not to mention the big wins against Manchester United and AC Milan. We saw how flexible the team has become, players performing better in their roles, and most importantly, a very good defensive record for the Reds, conceding just 5 league goals and not allowing too many threatening shots. However, and despite this impressive defensive record, there have been some instances felt a bit easy to play through. Teams like Bournemouth, Wolves, Bologna, Chelsea and Arsenal lately have all managed to exploit a certain weakness in our system. This weakness is the 4-2-4 shape out of possession mixed with the passing pressing front line. Now don't get us wrong, we obviously don't know better than the manager. However, we spotted that this approach has been causing us problems, particularly against the Gunners. So in today's video, we're going to highlight these issues and how Liverpool were miles better when they tweak things around. So hit the like and subscribe button and let us jump straight into our analysis. So as we mentioned earlier, we all witnessed how the Reds have been a bit easy to play through, notably in the games against Bournemouth, Wolves, Bologna and Chelsea. And if you go back to these matches, you'll notice a common theme. Liverpool has used the 4-2-4 shape out of possession in all of those games. Now don't get us wrong, it's not a bad system to implement, let us explain. Under Slot, Liverpool have genuinely defended out of a 4-2-4 shape, and there are lots of reasons for this, one of which is that it's an effective way to defend against teams who use the common 3-2-5 structure that you see a lot of Premier League clubs use these days. The 4-2-4 gives you +1 at the back, meaning the back line will have an extra player against the front three. This shape can also cover the midfield nicely, and you have excellent access to the opposition's first line of build-up. If winning every week against your friends in fantasy football was getting old, why not use that football knowledge to win rewards money can't buy? Sorare's Best of Europe is a free-to-play fantasy game where you can score incredible prizes every Tuesday and Friday. Let me show you how to get started in 5 steps. You can quickly join and sign up to Sorare's Best of Europe through the link below. No cost, no fuss. The next part is when the fun begins, as you can create your lineup by selecting your 5-player squad, choosing top players from Europe's biggest leagues. And to aim for the prizes, you need to make crucial decisions, one of which is selecting your captain, because a captain scores bonus points, so make that pick wisely. And now the real business starts, as you enter competitions, deciding between going fully free to play or using limited cards for higher chances to win. And like any head coach, monitor your players' performances and climb the leaderboard for a shot at amazing rewards. First-time lineup entries receive essence to craft a card, adding a unique twist. Get started today and may the best manager win. So if you think it's too late to play fantasy football, think again, sign up with my link and start winning. The general idea is that you create a hexagon around the opposition's double pivot, and then you use this as a starting point to block the opponent out, preventing them easy access through the middle, but also having routes to the wide areas if they try to build up around the block. However, what is making this structure vulnerable for Liverpool is how passive the first pressing line has been. And to better understand this, let's take a deeper look into our game against the Gunners. We started strong against Arsenal, going very direct from the back towards Diaz, and eventually winning a free kick at the edge of their box. So it took us a few minutes to determine whether the Reds were going to use the same defensive approach or not. However, right from the first settled phase of possession Arsenal had during the game, it was quite clear what the Reds' intentions were. Contrary to the 4-1-4-1 shape we used against RB Leipzig, Liverpool returned to the 4-2-4 structure out of possession we generally use this season. As we explained earlier, the purpose was to block Arsenal from gaining central progression and have the ability to jump them wide if they tried to play around us. However, it looked like Mikel Arteta was prepared to deal with this as the Gunners switched back and forth between different build-up structures in the first few minutes of the game. From the usual 3-2, with Partey inverting from the right-back position into midfield to the 3-4, with Raya stepping up between the centre-backs and both full-backs pushing high and wide. This allowed Arsenal to overload Liverpool's first line of pressing and have more often than one free option to pass the ball to. It made the pitch as wide as possible, allowing Raya to use his distribution and pick up wide players. Both Timber and Partey were easily found by the keeper, but it doesn't end there. To drag around our players and create spaces to exploit, Arsenal used constant rotations between their players. Here you can see Kai Havertz dropping to the right back position, forcing McAllister to follow him and vacate central spaces, which was quickly occupied by Partey. Here's another instance where Havertz intentionally pulls McAllister out of position, allowing Trossard, who acted as a false 9, to arrive in acres of free space. This is where some question marks pop up around Alexis McAllister's defensive abilities against big teams. The team looked miles better in the second half when Dominic Szoboszlai came on for the Argentinian, bringing more intensity in the pressing and more athleticism to compete against the physical monsters such as Declan Rice. So should Liverpool start fielding both Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones alongside Ryan Gravenberch in the big games? Both players are more athletic and physical enough to compete, which are traits that McAllister might lack. So let us know what you think in the comments. Now, going back to the game, Liverpool's structure wasn't the only issue. As we mentioned earlier, this shape is effective. However, if your pressing intensity isn't up there, then gaps will start to pop. That was the Reds' problem at the front pressing line caused a self-inflicted wound. You can see that Arsenal's first goal can be considered as a result of Liverpool's lack of engagement in the first line. You're probably thinking that they only found the net because of a lucky long ball and individual brilliance from Saka mixed with Robertson's poor defending. Well, watching the goal back, you can see Ben White taking 5 whole touches before Darwin Núñez initiated the press, which was too late as the defender had already picked up Saka's in-behind run. The Gunners had too much time and space in front of Liverpool's pressing line, which allowed them to make better decisions, one of which was a long ball towards Saka. It's safe to say that before the goal, Arsenal successfully exploited Liverpool's structure effectively with their build-up variations and constant rotations. The lack of intensity in our pressing obviously helped too. However, once we trailed, it felt like the Reds took over the wheel as we gained more control over the game. And guess what, guys? This shift of momentum was due to a change to the same two things that gave Arsenal the upper hand in the opening minutes. Whether it was in mental issues, the team managing the workload, or instructions from Arne Slot, Liverpool's defensive structure and pressing intensity looked more complete, opposite to what it was before conceding. The pressing shape became more of a 4-2-3-1, with Darwin relentlessly leading the line and trying to force Arsenal to one side before Curtis Jones, alongside one of the wingers and one of the pivots, pushed to that side and squeezed the pitch as much as possible. Since that change of structure and intensity, Liverpool won the ball in dangerous areas 3 times in 5 minutes, which allowed the team to get more on the ball and sustain more pressure. In fact, the corner leading up to Van Dijk's equaliser came minutes after the Reds regained possession, with a David Raya misplaced pass into the touchline. It was day and night difference in the team despite not making a single change. Unfortunately, what was worrying for us was how dropped back to the 4-2-4 shape, with the pressing intensity decreasing after we equalised. Again, it might be a mental problem, or it can be the manager's instructions to manage the workload, but either way, this shifted the game's momentum towards Arsenal's favour once again, and so they had control over the rest of the half before they managed to add a second. Sure, we grew more into the game in the second half, notably after Dominic Szoboszlai's inclusion, adding more intensity, work rate and athleticism. However, this 4-2-4 shape and precisely the passive approach out of possession remains a huge question mark. It worked against Manchester United, where Liverpool set pressing traps in central areas with Gravenberch and McAllister making the jumps. But since then, it felt like every team playing against Liverpool is finding a way to exploit this system. Again, guys, we're not saying that we know better than the manager, but we can all at least agree that this is one of the most worrying aspects of our style so far this season. And thankfully, it's the only issue that we believe can be costly, so we don't have too much to worry about under Slot. So after the better 4-1-4-1 structure against RB Leipzig in the Champions League, and the improvement in the performance against Arsenal in a different 4-2-3-1 shape, is it time for Arne Slot to ditch the 4-2-4 once and for all? Or should he keep the shape but ask the team to press more aggressively from the front? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's video, why not hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Liverpool deep dives. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.